Hey everybody, Jedi Jack Luther here. I wanted to do a quick video. Just got something in the mail and I wanted to share it. So today we're going to be looking at the 1990s Power of the Force A-wing fighter. Now, if you were growing up, this is probably one fighter you really didn't get a chance to get. The A-wing fighter and the A-wing pilot came out in the vintage line in two separate areas. So the A-wing pilot was on a card and is considered what's known as the last 17. So that makes it rare, hard to find, and very valuable, which means I can't afford it. The A-wing fighter did not come out at the end of the vintage line. It came out in the droids line that they made. So you had to go, and that line didn't last very long, and you probably didn't see it in stores, and it's gone. So what they did is when Hasbro took over Kenner, they left the Kenner name on it for the 90s and started releasing figures and vehicles and stuff. And all they did is they remolded the original vehicles. And we've seen that in other shows, like the Power of the Force Millennium Falcon, and where they just remolded the old vehicles, but the figures were too big to fit in them. So, like if you look up Power of the Force commercials, you'll see they'll just stick Han Solo in the pilot seat. Chewie can't fit in there because he's way too big. So they left the molds, the original molds. So in the Power of the Force line, they decided to remake the A-wing fighter, which a lot of people did not get. This is going to be the most affordable one you're ever going to find. And if you find it loose, it's a real bargain to pick it up. In the box, 40 to 50 bucks. And that's still not bad to get a ship from the 90s that's remolded from the ship from the 80s. And if you're not particularly worried that it's not 100% vintage, which stuff from the 90s is almost heading in that direction. So what we got is we got the A-wing fighter. We're going to start off with the pilot. I gave him a Han Solo gun because I don't think the pilot came with a gun that came with this ship. So I'm going to give him a gun. But here is the A-wing pilot done in that olive drab green, which is what the A-wing pilots wore. He's the standard Power of the Force figure. He's got the 6 points of articulation because he turns at the waist. It's not like the greatest figure on the planet, but the only way to get it was to buy the A-wing fighter. Of course, you can go on eBay and just buy the figure if you want it, if you just didn't want an additional A-wing pilot. So there's nothing really fancy about him, but it's still neat. I gave him a gun so he'd have a weapon in his hand, although I don't know why, because, you know, they never show them landing on a planet and, you know, going after anyone. But Star Wars, man, everyone's got to have a gun or some kind of weapon. It's not Star Wars without it. So let's look at the ship. So the A-wing fighter is your standard ship. It's probably the least, as I like to say it, the least messiest of all the other ships. The X, the Y, the B. The X-wing and the Y-wing have those S-foils that lock into position. And they're big, they're kind of... And this ship is just really clean cut. It's small, it's simple, it's a nice little one-man fighter. Perfect. It's probably pretty quick, can navigate real well, get in and out and, you know, all around the place, while some of those other ships might have some difficult. Well, the X-wings are pretty maneuverable, but this ship probably just can get into some real tight areas and get the job done. And it looks like a standard spaceship. Yeah, I'm thinking about this, how much it looks like a Jedi Starfighter from the prequels. It has a very similar look to it. You almost think there should be an R2 unit on the side here somewhere. The paint is pretty good. Where they put on the detail here, I'm going to bring this in. They have like little silver spray paint on there, like something was damaged or scraped and they just repaired it and sprayed over it real quickly, but didn't have a chance to completely repaint it. If the front of the ship looks like this. Our side, our back. I like these engines. They look really cool. I've seen someone on eBay do a custom work where they put LEDs in here and it lights up the engines, which is pretty cool. which is possible. If you look on the bottom here, this part right here does open. This is probably the original battery box for the vintage A-wing. It probably had a button on there that made a noise or something. And this is a battery box, but there's no components or wires in this at all. You open this up and it's nothing. So you technically could use it like a storage container for the ship, you know, to add some kind of like story to it. The side guns are pretty nice. They pop out as such and rotate 360 degrees. So you can get in some good space battles there. And then they push in and they lock. Landing gear is just a little lever down here. This landing gear is a little sticky, and I may have to undo the screws, go in here and look and see why the mechanism is sticking. It basically should be a quick pull up and down, and here you see it sticks. So they still go in and out, but you have to I'm gonna have to go in and look at it. The guy didn't say anything about the landing gear when I bought this, but you know, you're getting a loose vehicle, so I'm glad. I mean, that's not the worst thing on the planet. You know, the landing gear can stay down. Up on the top, there's a little button up here. You slide it forward and it opens up the hatch for our pilot to get into. I would have liked this hatch to go up further, like at a 90-degree angle, because at this angle, gravity begins to take hold, and after a while it will drop. So it would be hard to display this guy like the hatch is open. Figure fits right down in there. You can move the button to close it or push it down yourself, and there he is. Inside, getting ready to take off. This is a nice ship. Since it's a Return of the Jedi ship, basically is how I consider it, because that's when it made its debut. I put it on my Return of the Jedi shelf with all the other Return of the Jedi toys. And it fits in the little cubby hole perfectly, because it's just being a small ship. It's really a cool ship. I really like this. I've always wanted one. And they made others out there, but they're just more expensive. And I didn't want to put that much money into something, you know, as a collectible. I know stuff is worth it more, but you know, if this is one price and it's loose and it's another price, that doesn't make, you know, make it worth any more money. It's not for me. So, but I wanted to do a quick review. I like it. I think it's a really good ship. If you're a Star Wars fan and you want an A-wing, but you just don't want to pay the vintage A-wing prices, because anything from the Droids line is really expensive, and that vintage A-wing fighter is not cheap to get either. I mean, I paid about $70 for my Y-wing, and the buzzer on it doesn't make a noise, but I'm not bothered with that. I could care less. And then the pilot was really cheap, so it wasn't so much money. I don't have a whole lot of money into that. But I mean, if you want to put the money into it, that's what you want to do. I mean, I'm all for it. You can do you can buy what you want to buy. But for me, I just wanted an A-wing, and this is from the original mold. They probably had to do a little bit of retooling on it, not that much. I think it looks great. Nice ship. It's going to look great in my collection. So thank you again for tuning in. I just wanted to show that real quickly. I posted that on Facebook, as I will this video. And we will be back again. I'll probably have something new here shortly. Some more stuff came in, and I'm slowly going through that, so video should be popping up here shortly. So for Jedi Jack Luther, this is what's in the box. And we just showed you what came in the box. We don't show the box anymore. Did you notice that? You don't need to see the box. You've never needed to see the box. It's just a cardboard box. You wanted to know what's in the box.